today, sir, Dr. Meher Isa Balagopala, to this amazing conversation that we're just about to have. Welcome aboard, sir. So good to see you.
Thank you very much, Geetika.
So I know that um, everybody who is seeking that really elusive item in life and that really fleeting item in life, which we call happiness, wants to listen to you, pick your brains, pick your knowledge in terms of how to actually get there. So I know everybody would be brimming with curiosity, but well, I'm in the driver's seat today. So first, I have to quench this thirst for my own curiosity. And I have actually been dying to ask you this question. I know how it skipped the interactions that we've earlier had. So before we get into happiness and how to get there, first tell me, how did you actually get into spirituality?
I was born and brought up in a family where my parents are fully dedicated to Avatar Meher Baba. And my parents used to conduct a weekly satsang at our home, where all the people in our town would gather there and some bhajan songs plus some discourses every week. And I opened my eyes in that kind of environment. And when I was a child, of course, I didn't like sitting there. Rather, I would have preferred going out onto the street and play with my friends. And I was hearing the noises made by my friends, and my mind was always there. So I was reluctantly sitting there when I was a child. But later on, that involuntary listening itself had a great impact on me, which I realized by the time I reached ninth standard or 10th standard.
That's also fairly young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether I understood all the spiritual concepts by the time or not, one thing stuck to my mind was we should not let the mind go by its own way. Rather, we have to control it. It should be in our control. We should not be in mind's control. That message went so deep into me. And then I did some experiments on my mind.
Oh, that sounds exciting. You became your own guinea pig, so to speak.
Exactly. I just didn't want to, stick with the theory itself. So I wanted to experiment to see how I can control my mind. So I was.
So was that more like a challenge you took up because of something that happened?
Exactly. I challenged myself to see if I can control my mind. So I was very fond of movies. If I would go to a 3-hour movie, I would articulate that to my friends in 4 hours, nonstop.
Oh, a movie buff. Now that is a real deep hidden secret we didn't know about. Okay.
So since that was the most interesting thing to me at the time, I thought of knocking it out. I decided not to go to movies until I would complete my 10th standard, since the 10th standard requires a lot of concentration on the studies. And 6 months on my own, I stopped going to the movies, despite some other requests came from my relatives and friends as well. And 6 months, I was able to stay away from the movies completely. And I made first class in the 10th standard, which was a big surprise to me. I was not expecting.
So your life was going like this, and suddenly it kind of changed. Yeah.
So I probably may have expected a second class, something like that, but I never thought I was a first class student. It was a big discovery for me. And all my siblings, they completed their education with 3rd class. Second class.
Sorry, I should not be laughing at that, but okay. I hope they're not listening to this right now.
So the interest was always whether we are passing the class or not. That's all. Pass, fail, pass, fail. That was the only focus at the time. Classes, grades was never on my mind. suddenly when I found
Actually, those were the good old days. These days, there's too much pressure. Those days, it
correct,
was like, has my child passed or has he failed? And nobody asked him, what is the percentage? They were just like, passed. Oh,
yeah,
congratulations.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nowadays, kids feel guilty to say that I got only 98%.
Yeah, absolutely. 90% is, shameful these days because, oh, you're not going to get your stream, you're not going to get your college. Absolutely. So interesting. So, um, when you took on this challenge and stayed away from something that you were so accustomed to, something that you actually enjoyed and loved doing, which was going to cinema. So what did it actually do? Did it kind of rewire your brain, or what exactly would have happened, you think?
First of all, it saved me some time so that I could, put my mind on the studies outwardly. And inwardly, I realized that I was able to do what I wanted to do. So I was in control of my mind, at least in that aspect, if not in everything.
I think sometimes that's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah,
Just kind of believing in yourself and feeling that sense of confidence, right?
exactly,
Or calmness
exactly.
that yes, I can do it. Because I think a lot of us just keep moving through life and not making changes because we feel that it's not in our control. Our life is not in our control, right? And
Right,
so we
right.
therefore don't attempt. So that's great. I think at a very young age, you found that secret truth that your brain is literally your brain. You own your brain and not
Not the other
the
way.
other way
Yeah,
around. You should be the one in the driver's seat. All
yeah,
right, great. So I can see then that spirituality was something that I think was ingrained in your DNA, so to
correct,
speak, from
correct.
childhood. So both your parents were um, uh, into it and followed
Yes,
Meher Baba,
yes,
you said, right?
of course, yes.
Right, right. Yeah. So sometimes it does happen, it's I think that seed is sown in us early, but it stays latent
Correct,
for a while. Yeah.
correct,
And then at the
correct.
right time, it sprouts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your awakening, so to speak, happened around that time. All right. Excellent. Excellent. So tell us a little bit about how the awakened Meher then went on to become Dr. Meher, and how did life then treat you?
Yeah, that is also something very interesting. In my family, all are art students. I was the only science student.
Ah,
And this 10th standard first class was a big discovery for me. I discovered, who is Meher at that time. And, the continuation to that mental control happened actually. I didn't mention that.
right.
After the 10th class, I was happy and I watched 2 movies. Then I went to the college. I started 10 plus 2.
Right.
There, I set up some academic goals for me. And then I will watch movies only if I reach that goal.
Oh,
So
that's interesting.
during the intermediate, both the 2 years completely, I didn't watch any movies.
Right.
Um, going going to college itself, I have to pass through 5 movie theaters on the roadside every day.
5 what? Sorry.
To go to the college, I
Yeah.
have to pass through 5 movie theaters
Oh, okay.
with
All right.
big wall posters on, attractive wall posters on either side.
Calling out to you. Yeah.
So, 2 years in intermediate, I didn't watch any movie. And of
Uh,
course, I didn't meet my academic goal, whatever I set in my mind. I like 80%, 90%, something. I set a goal very high. I didn't meet my goal. So
mhm.
I continued not going to the movies throughout my graduation as well as post graduation. So that is 7 years throughout my education, not a single movie I watched.
I think this is what they call tapasya. Right. Right, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And of
Mhm.
course, I ended up completing my BSc, and then I went to university for doing the post graduation MSc in
Mhm.
chemistry.
Mhm. Mhm.
After that, I went to do the PhD, 5-year program after the post graduation. I was awarded doctorate by Andhra University. Then still my thirst for scientific knowledge, scientific temper was not sufficient. So I went to US to continue further studies, postdoctoral study uh, in American University. 5 years after PhD, I was still pursuing my research quest. And
I can see why you crack the science behind happiness, because I think you are innately a curious soul, right?
yes,
You're always seeking answers. Yeah, you've got that
yeah,
scientist bent of mind,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
So this is a kind of unusual result in not only in my immediate family, but among our relatives. Nobody have done the post graduation.
Mm.
Hardly if anybody. There are few at that time. Now a lot of people are doing this fine. But at that
Right.
time, even post graduation was a rare talk. And I did
Mm.
PhD and then postdoctoral research and all of that. That level of excel was only possible because of my understanding of the spiritual concepts, particularly keeping mind in my control instead of the other way.
So I can see you've been very driven by your purpose and mission. And I'm of the belief that, yeah, if you're moving towards something, that light, so to speak, then you have a sense of fulfillment from inside.
Yes.
However, I'm sure there were still some moments of high, some moments of low through your journey. Touch upon
Yeah.
those perhaps.
Fortunately, there are not many low moments, but I remember one moment. After the 10 plus 2, I targeted to become an engineer.
Oh, okay.
At that time, in our state, Andhra Pradesh,
Yeah,
including Telangana, now a different state.
right.
Together in these two states, there were only 4 engineering colleges. Today, we have 3 engineering colleges in my own hometown.
I,
So at
I,
that
I,
time,
I, I think if you, I'll have to check up on the latest statistics, but I think if you stand a bunch of 10 engineers globally, I think 8 would fall from, the Indian subcontinent, probably.
yeah.
Very true.
So
Very true.
at
I
that
see even
time,
IITs, there are so many now mushroomed all over.
yeah,
So I remember my father was from the only IIT in his time, IIT Kharagpur. There was none other. And now I lost count of the number of IITs as well.
right,
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
At that time, becoming an engineer, doing an engineering degree is a kind of dream. So
Mm.
I targeted for that one, and I didn't get the seat in my first attempt.
Ah.
I was crazy and passionate to get into the engineering. I was not very much inclined to, BSc, MSc path.
Mm.
So in the BSc first year, I ignored the first year studies and focused heavily on preparing for the entrance test.
Mm.
So I had to give a second attempt,
Mm.
and we went so deep into the subject, prepared very well, but I didn't get the seat second time also, which was a
Story is
huge.
not going like a normal story. Okay.
So it was a huge disappointment. I didn't
Yeah.
go to any coaching classes. I prepared on my own, doing a combined study with a couple of friends. So although we were very thorough in the subject, the timing, the speed, those kind of techniques we didn't develop. That we
Yeah.
realized later. Anyway, it was a huge disappointment. On the day I received the card, uh, postcard of my rank, I went home quietly and closed the doors. Nobody was there at home. I almost cried for half an hour. Uh, and after within 30 minutes, I was able to recover. That is another great thing I was able to do. Nobody was there to console me. Um, but that those 30 minutes was the low moment in my life, despite knowing all these things. But
So
after that,
what did you tell yourself to regain your
I
composure, get back in the swing of
right,
things?
I accepted the failure within 30 minutes, and I decided to move on with the alternative path, whatever is available.
I think that's such a valuable takeaway. Sometimes in life, acceptance, right, gives you a sense of calmness and closure,
Right,
right? And I think
right,
without that calmness and closure, you cannot move on to the next phase of your life. So
right,
sometimes it's essential that when a door closes, you actually put the lock on it and say goodbye so that you can at least the rest of the doors now know in the
right.
universe that or whoever is ready, to walk through a new door. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
So at the time, I was not really matured enough to handle that situation. So I enjoyed crying for 30 minutes. Later on, several turbulent incidents happened in my life, but never, I was shaken by those incidents. So
Right.
we plan for life in certain way. It doesn't mean that it should happen, right? Things
Right.
sometimes take the different direction. So I learned to see myself better whenever things did not happen the way I wanted to. Um, so that I learned a little later, but at +2 level, that was a kind of low moment.
Yeah. You don't have that kind of perspective on life,
Yeah,
which one would
right,
by now.
right, right,
Yeah. That's very true. I think I personally also feel that, it's all about that balance. On one side, you need to live your life purposefully. But on the other side, you also need to, in some ways, surrender yourself to at least the fact that things will
right.
not always go your way.
Correct, correct.
Yeah. And that's when you can keep going without getting knocked off when things don't go your way.
Yeah,
Right. All right. So I can see how your life and how your journey through your life has probably got you to the point where you've penned down this amazing um I think piece of literature that I would call, because it is something about I talk to people, I talk to all authors, so many authors, and we keep discussing target audience, who's your demographic, who's your ideal reader, who are you writing to? But your book is such a book where all these questions become slightly irrelevant, because honestly, everybody wants to be happy, right? And
exactly,
happiness is I think it's that coin with two sides, and both of those sides signify problems, right? In the sense that it's elusive, right? You keep looking for it, you keep searching for it, and it's very difficult to grasp. It's almost like, air that you just can't grasp. And on the other side, when you do get it, often in life, I have this feeling that it's very fleeting, like sand. So it kind of
exactly,
shifts through your fingers. So either you can't catch hold of it like the air, or either it's like the sand, it comes but just goes away before you've kind of had your share. So yeah, we're all seekers of happiness. So I think at this moment I have to free welcome you into our conversation today. So everybody, welcome to Dr. Mehari Bala, author of The Blissful Life. Yeah.
thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your book, Doctor, and uh, what is it about? and what are the readers actually going to take away from your book? Because I'm sure people are now dying to get their hands on this
Yeah.
magic wand, magic potion that you poured into a book.
Well, like just how you mentioned, everybody wants happiness, but not everybody knows how to gain the happiness and then retain the happiness, sustain the happiness. In many, a greater percentage of people do not know how to live a happy life despite having health, wealth, and so many other things. So it has been kind of a secret to lead a sustained happy life. Actually, secret is not a correct word. People don't care to know the formula. People are interested in immediate
Quick fixes.
gratifications, quick
Quick
fixes.
fixes. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
they are interested in quick fixes and immediate gratifications. So they don't care about how I can be happy uh, forever, regardless of what happens in my life.
It's like everybody wants to lose 10 kgs in 7 days, but nobody
Exactly,
wants to have a balanced diet for the rest of the 6 months.
exactly. So those who uh, question themselves like, what is going to happen? This happiness is only always short-lived, and it
Mm.
is always leaves me gloomy afterwards. So what is the secret of this happiness? And people who pondered about it went through the information given in our shastras, granthas, by the God in his previous incarnations. So I would not say it is a secret. It is an information that is available to everybody, but hardly anybody cares to pursue it. So when I happened to go through that material, primarily from Meher Baba's literature and also from Bhagavad Gita, I compiled the recipe for this sustained happiness and then placed in that book.
Oh, lovely. You got me at recipe. I'm such a big foodie. If you give me a recipe of anything, I'll knock it out. Right, right. So great. So I believe you've shared in your book some steps, some frameworks, some methodologies
Yeah,
on how to get to that state. So I keep hearing of this very typical quote, right? That happiness is a state of mind. I don't know. Is that true, or how far is that true?
yes, correct. It is a state of mind. It is our personal
Mm.
choice. Happiness is our personal choice.
Mm.
So when things go in our favor, we are naturally happy.
Mm.
Can we be happy when things are not in our favor? There we have a
Bingo. I
choice.
think that's the right question to ask. Absolutely. Because more than anything in life, things are not going as per what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So when
true.
things do not go in our favor, there we have a choice of to be happy or to be unhappy.
Mm.
So that choice will be resolved by the level of conscience we have. That comes from the body of knowledge of spirituality.
And
People
and and
who
probably that controlling of your own mind, which you learned early on in life, right?
exactly. It's not, yeah,
Absolutely.
that is one aspect. And it requires a thorough understanding of who we are uh,
Mm.
beyond this physical body, and a thorough understanding of the nature and the purpose of the universe. Universe in the sense, anything and everything surrounding us. We need to understand the nature and its purpose. So this understanding helps us to choose happiness even in the unfavorable moments.
Brilliant. So I would say happiness is then a personal choice,
Yes, yes,
right?
yeah,
If you choose to be happy, even when things, like you said, are not in your favor, when the dice is dealt and it's not in your favor, when you're holding the wrong cards in life, yet
yeah,
yet you
yeah,
can choose to be happy. and the not so well guarded secret, like you said, is distilled into your book, right?
Right. And that requires this knowledge, this recipe.
Ah,
People who know that recipe, they can handle the unfavorable situation and stay happy. That way, our happiness sustains regardless of the favorable or unfavorable events that happen in our life. So that
absolutely.
recipe, I put it into this book.
Right. Right. Yeah, because so often it happens like we see people who have in some ways arrived in life, yeah, and still they're always cribbing and they don't look like they're contented, and you wonder like what is he or she worried about? I mean, if I were in their place, I'd be throwing a big party yeah, to celebrate my life. So yeah, so I think accumulation of of accumulation of physical or monetary items is not the key to getting there, right?
Yeah,
It's not about how much you have, but it's about how much at peace you are with who you are and with what you have, right?
yeah.
So and it's like you said, that knowledge, yeah, and how to reach that level of knowledge. I'm sure it's so. Would you say is it like a destination which a person reaches, or is it like a way of life that has to be practiced on a daily basis?
There is a destination according to Meher Baba's literature. Um, all the human beings eventually they are entitled to realize that their true nature is God. They eventually find their oneness with God. Even today, every human being, including you, me, and anybody else, is God. The only reason is we do not experience that Godhood because of the filter that is staying between us and the Godhood. That is the mind. Mind is like a wall. So, in a series of life cycles, gradually this mind diminishes, what we call as manonash, and reaches a state of nirvana. Nirvana means mind is zero.
Oh, is that the definition of nirvana? I've been using
Exactly.
this word left, right, and center. Okay. I've definitely learned something today.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thus, Meher Baba said, every human, after taking the human body from the animal kingdom, will go through 84 lakhs of life cycles.
84 lakhs.
84 lakhs. In this series of life cycles, everybody will go through all kind of possibilities. Some life cycles are like man, and some are like woman, some
Mhm.
rich, some as poor, some intelligent, some as a dumb. All kind of
Mhm.
dualities people experience in these 84 lakhs of life cycles, and that gives the maturity. And at the end of 84 lakhs life cycles, one would realize their own true nature, that I am not a man, I'm not a woman, I'm not an engineer, I'm not a teacher. In fact, I am God. Aham Brahma Asmi.
Right. So I think it's very close to the concept like we were taught in school in science, right? That energy just keeps transforming and taking on new shape. Like energy is never destroyed, right? It just goes from
Ah,
one
right.
form to the other. So I
Hmm.
think this avatar or this form of God
Hmm.
in us, right? That just keeps taking on new shapes and in every life form and in every journey, right?
Meher Baba nicely gave a metaphor.
Hmm.
He said, you are just a drop of the ocean and I am the ocean.
Come again, you are.
You are a drop of the ocean, I am the
Huh.
ocean.
Huh.
So when you fall back, the drop is separated momentarily from the ocean. The drop is also ocean, but we call it as a drop. When it falls back, it is ocean. It was ocean, it was a drop, it was ocean again.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Right. That's a great analogy, shall I call it? But yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it puts it in the right perspective. I mean, I of course have gone through your book, but I think everybody listening also would already understand why your book helps them, find this elusive happiness. Because I think talking to you itself, now that I'm speaking to you at length, I think it has a very calming effect, Dr. Mel. So I can just imagine reading the written word by you. I'm sure it has the same impact except manifold. All
Yeah.
right, but so what keeps you going?
I'm sorry, you missed the question. What
What
makes
what
me?
what keeps you going? What is your so-called mission that you are on? What is it that you want to do in the next, let's say, coming few years?
Um, that's a good question. Previously, before finding this recipe from Bhagavad Gita
Mhm.
or Meher Baba literature, I was applying these spiritual concepts at a very high level. Uh,
Mhm.
and that didn't help me. Although I was able to cope up with the situations much better than my friends, colleagues, and all that, still I went through some difficult situations. Then I realized that I need a deeper understanding. And I studied Meher Baba's literature and also Bhagavad Gita deeply. And I was able to crack this formula for the happiness. Although I do not have a particular mission in my mind, it is very natural for me to share that recipe with others. For example, if we see a wonderful movie, something like a recent movie, Bahubali or something, it is irresistible. We cannot resist ourselves not to tell others. Not only that
Very
we
true.
enjoyed it, and then we immediately share with our families and friends. Hey, this is a
Yes.
wonderful movie. You must see it. You should not
Yes.
miss it. Right? It's a natural thing. It's not a mission. So I have the same kind of passion now to share this recipe with all. So people spotted me as a speaker when I was sharing these in a 10 minutes, 15 minutes slots, and then started slowly giving more and more minutes to me. I became a 30-minute speaker, 1 hour speaker, and then 2 hour speaker. I am a invited speaker in Bangalore, a group of Meher Baba followers. Every month I go there and speak non-stop for about 2 hours there every month. In addition to that, I'm also an invited speaker elsewhere in Andhra Pradesh in many places. So I enjoy sharing this recipe with others, making them feel happy in the life and handle the life lightly.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I think your mission is not like a separate entity, so to speak, anymore. It is now literally woven into the fabric of who you are. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's part of you. It's part of what makes Dr. Bear Dr. Bear,
yeah,
right? And yeah, so I think that's a very seamless way of furthering what also I'm sure makes you happy, which is guiding other people to lead sustainably happy uh,
correct, correct.
lives. Lives.
Yeah,
So you spoke about in Dr. Mayor about eventually discovering this recipe for happiness and penning it into your beautiful book. So tell us a little bit about your writing process. How was that? Any nuggets, words of wisdom for aspiring authors as well?
Um, Writing process, I struggled to put my thoughts into the book form because it's a first book for me. But I had all the ideas clear in my mind. To put it into book format, I struggled in the beginning, a few months, and gradually I was able to bring a shape. And of course, your coaching also helped me to shape it better. Um, the process, what I went through is basically having a passionate message in me that I wanted to communicate and share with others. That was the starting point. Um, any author should have a passionate message before writing the book.
So passion. So being passionate about the message that you have
Yeah, yeah,
is I think one of the cornerstones of good writing, right? You cannot
right.
just say that this is the topic which is trending. Let's talk about it today. Yeah, it has
Exactly.
to
Yeah,
really come from your gut. It's not that
yeah,
you want to tell it; you just have to tell it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah.
yeah. It's not a cook. It shouldn't be cooked up material. Just
Ah,
to
right.
write a book and make some money, kind of thing.
Correct.
Books are written that way also, which is okay. Nothing wrong about it. But in my personal experience, it is out of passion. I wrote this book. That what I enjoyed, many should enjoy it. Many don't care to open these granthas and unlock these secrets. So I happen to find the formula for it. Let's put it in a simple language so that people can easily understand. Uh, that was the passion I had.
I think
And then,
that's also a very valuable takeaway. Keep it simple,
yeah,
and especially when you're dealing with such deep subjects which
right.
basically kind of push you into existential questions. Yeah.
Yeah,
The most problematic questions of why me, why am I here, what is the meaning of my life,
yeah,
why am I not happy, why don't I deserve it, do I not deserve it, all those very very troublesome
yeah,
questions. So it's important to kind of simplify, because the already troubled soul of the reader, if you trouble it more with jargon, then it's
exactly.
not really going to take
Exactly.
away
The
anything. But
subject
I think
itself,
that's also a sign of maturity, right? Because a lot of writers, the mistake that they make is that they're trying to prove themselves through their writing. So they're writing for themselves in some ways rather than for the
yeah,
reader. But like here's where your coaching skills also kind of would help, because since you're such a world-class coach, then you understand the importance and art and science of how to teach
right,
effortlessly.
right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that shows in your work. Right,
yeah.
go on.
So I defined my message in a brief,
Mm,
one-page text in the beginning, and
right,
then I created a mind map. I have
brilliant.
thought about, what are the salient aspects of this message. So each aspect turned out to be a chapter in the book. So I first created a rudimentary mind map, identifying the salient aspects of this message, and then slowly elaborated each branch of the mind map to bring in the details. That's how it evolved into the book. And of course, I included enough metaphors to easily explain uh, difficult concepts.
Yeah.
Metaphors always are very, very helpful.
Yeah, because they make things so relatable
Yeah,
and easy to understand, right?
yeah,
Yeah, even the way that you explained about the drop and the ocean, right?
yeah, yeah,
So exactly right. So no, I think the cornerstone here is uh, it doesn't matter if it is taking more time to create the structure, but making the structure, the foundation, the flow of the book, it's critical. in your book writing process, and time spent in that is more like time invested,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So, all right. I know that as it is, you inspire a lot of people through your talks, through now your book as well, through your coaching as well. But who has inspired you?
I should say Meher Baba's teachings inspired me. They have Meher Baba's messages shed a lot of light on the life. Many things that are enigmatic to many people were very clear to me, even at an younger age. I often found, my friends and colleagues contemplating with so many questions, and those questions were not questions to me. That kind of clarity, it helps.
Clarity that you had.
Right. And practical inspiration I have drawn from my parents, of course. And Gandhiji is another character who inspired me very strongly, particularly with his stubbornness to be right.
Oh, I like that. So a lot of people talk about Gandhiji, but this is a different quality that you've picked up from it is his stubbornness. Tell me a little bit about what you mean by that, Dr. Meher.
He was very stubborn to be right, despite welcoming the physical pain and the torture during the British era. He was okay to take the blows of the lathis, but he would never give up what he wanted to do. If we take, for example, when he was in South Africa, British people were also foreigners in South Africa. Indian people
Right.
were also foreigners. British people would not carry the passport, but they were demanding Indians to carry the passport. So anytime they are asked, they have to show the passport to show their identity.
Yeah.
So this Gandhiji resisted, saying that if you don't carry the passport, why should we carry? And he
Yeah. So the
organized it.
stubbornness which comes from believing in your beliefs.
Exactly.
Yeah, from having a really strong belief system and not letting anybody shake that up. Yeah, standing up for it. Absolutely.
So
That's the kind of stubbornness which is inspiring. Yeah. I like
so
that.
he
All right.
organizes a gathering to burn all the Indian passports, and he announces that in the newspaper. And obviously, British police were there to stop it. And despite their threatening presence, Gandhiji burns the passports. British people hit him with lathis, and he takes the blows, and still keeps on adding the others' passports into the furnace. And then continuously they are hitting him, and he falls down, but still he picks up yet one more passport and puts into the fire. He will not stop.
Unstoppable.
Yeah, unstoppable. That kind of stubbornness he had in doing the right thing, that really inspired me a lot.
To not deviate from your course.
Yeah.
To stay
people compromise with what is not right quite often, and lose the quality of the life. Why we are keeping Gandhiji in our pocket? All Indians are having Gandhiji in our pocket. Right? It's because he never compromised.
Right.
Simple.
Yeah. So don't compromise for what you stand for.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because then you don't know who you are. And I think that's one of the fundamental foundations.
Yeah.
Which leads to your recipe for happiness, right? If you are not comfortable in your own skin, if you don't know who you are, then yeah, good luck getting there. Excellent, excellent. So Dr. Meher, what would you like to say in parting for people who are seeking this elusive, fleeting, almost mythical creature called happiness? What would be your few words of wisdom to them? I know that it's in the book, but what would you say to them right now?
I missed a portion of your question. To people of what kind?
Sorry?
I missed a portion of your question. You
Huh.
said people of what kind? What
Yeah,
kind
so
of people?
I'm saying people who are seeking happiness.
Oh, seeking
What
happiness. Okay, sorry.
seeking happiness? Yeah. So
Okay.
what would be your few words of wisdom to them right now?
Okay, okay. So everybody seeks happiness, but they don't know how to gain happiness. Meher Baba says people adopt different paths to gain happiness. Some think money makes them happy. Some think education makes them happy. Some think alcohol makes them happy. So these are all different ways of seeking happiness. But they don't know the real recipe of happiness.
Hmm.
So that is what is included in the book.
Hmm.
There is a vast difference between seeking happy and being happy.
Okay. Yeah, point to be noted. Point to be noted. We keep using this terminology, seeking, 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 and if it's
Yeah.
hidden somewhere behind the cupboard, take left, take right, 45 degrees, now stop, pause, reach out. As if it's hiding there somewhere. But I'm guessing it's probably within. Yeah.
As long as we are trying to seek happiness, we think the happiness is outside in the objects or opportunities.
Mm.
If we learn to be happy, we find the happiness is already there inside. That is how it will not be disturbed by the outside events, whether they are favorable or unfavorable.
I think I'm getting there now. Brilliant, brilliant. So I'm definitely going to go and do a crash course again of your book. And for everybody who's listening to us, grab a copy of Dr. Meher's book, The Blissful Life. It's available on Amazon and Flipkart as well. And even if you're across the world, you can just order it on your local country Amazons as well. It's available both in paperback as well as ebook. So, what are you waiting for? Go, not seek, but go and build your own happiness right from within. It's been absolutely, I think, a very calming experience. First of all, speaking to you, Dr. Meher, lovely as always, enchanting as always, and even though the night is setting in, I think the bulbs of my brain are lighting up with your words. So I just want to thank you for joining me today in this lovely conversation. And I think we should do this more often, if nothing else, than just to make me feel calm, peaceful, and
Thank you. Thank
right.
you very much for your time and wonderful questions as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Meher, and catch you very soon.
My pleasure.
Another fine day. Thank you. Bye bye.